Good morning, everybody. Thank you for us gathering here together. We will begin with Let There Be Peace on Earth, our song. And you can be seated, please. We begin with our invocation. Thank you, Creator Source, for bringing us all together. As we come together, we open our hearts in gratitude for this space and for the opportunity for us to be together in friendship and in connection to Spirit. And with all of this, we say thank you in our hearts, rippling out into the universe. Thank you. Thank you. Our statement of intent says a lot about who we are. We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for our Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. We invite you to join us in this celebration of life, to nourish our spirits and to enjoy our company together as kindred spirits. Amen. I'm going to introduce ourselves. We are a church that is led by a board of trustees, and we are a great group, and I am the president. My name is Carolyn Sheets, and together with our community, we are growing. We are in renewal together, people, and it's working. We are sharing the words that we have and the love that we have with others. And now we will turn to our speaker, who couldn't be a much closer friend of our community, is Gary Boelhower, who is a professor emeritus at Scholastica and has an incredible list of accomplishments, including being an author of children's books and scholarly texts and poetry. And today, at the very end, he's going to give us our benediction from one of his most recent poetry book. And it's extraordinary. I want everybody that loves poetry and loves to open a page to consider getting this book from him about the labyrinth. It's extraordinary. He walked labyrinths almost every day of the year and wrote the story from his heart. And we also have special music today because he and Michael, our own Michael Anderson, will be giving us an a cappella wonderful rendition that we will all have a part in, the chorus, after his talk. And Michael has been handing out those papers. So at the time, if you don't have one, just give a wave and we'll get you one. And with that, I want to say one word that we did all the Christmas decorations, and we're here for Christmas, and we're remembering that there are many holidays at this time, that we follow the Christ consciousness, so many of us in this community, and yet there's also Kwanzaa, there's also solstice, there's also Hanukkah, and there's others I don't know their names. So let's hold this time of holy days in our hearts as we go forward together today and all the rest of the days of this month. And then we say thank you to the old year and welcome to the new. Now we'll turn to our principles, and we'll stand for these, please, and our affirmation, and that will be on 2 different pieces of paper from the front of your hymnal. And so we read the principles. We believe God is the eternal source and creator of all and is present in everything. Our eternal soul, endowed with free will, grows through many lifetimes. Communication occurs between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others' suffering is the highest priority. Because we are all one, what we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. The choice of love is always open for every soul. Living these principles leads us to grow in divine love. And we turn to our affirmation on the laminated page. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. Thank you. And we'll turn now to our first hymn, page 6. And it's
has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the glory, praise for the springing fresh from the Lord. Sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, strong in completeness where His feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden's spring. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
And now you may be seated, please, and we will turn to our thoughts of prayer for ourselves, for others, for the world, for the healing bowl alive all the time with any and Any moment, we can place an intention in the bowl. And at this time, I wonder who might have a prayer that we want to hold together. And I will ask you to come forward a bit, and I'll meet you with the mic. Anybody we want to pray for today?
Continued prayers for Laura and her family and their garage. And let's hope that everything turns out for the best.
So I'm going to just say I'm feeling vulnerable and exhausted, so I don't really want to talk about anything, but I appreciate your prayers.
Thank you both. Anybody else?
Yeah, just prayers for Jerry and myself.
Very much. Thank you.
I have a cousin, Barry, who has serious health complications right now, so prayers for Barry and his wife, Sandy.
I would just like to pray for my daughter Kimberly, who just recently lost a job, and she really needs help in calming down and getting some energy to look for a new one that would be more right for her. Thank you.
Now, add on to that that this is our Jan's last Sunday, and we ask prayers for her journey to her new home, next home.
Sarah Paginen for health issues, for my daughter Lily, and for Gary and his upcoming message.
I'm a PCA/senior friend, and this gal named Marion, I just got done working for her. I've been working for her since 1989. She moved to Burnsville, no, not Burnsville, Woodbury, near her children and grandchildren into assisted living, and she's having a terrible time of acclimating and adjusting. Very tearful, very wishing she could be back home. So just prayers for her that she acclimate.
We are full of prayers. Thank you all. And now, let's take a few moments of silence to take these inside and offer them up, lifting up all of these along with the world. Amen. And we welcome Gary to our presence to lead us.
Our meditation this morning will be a little bit different. It's going to be a kind of meditation that leads us into our memory and then back here to the present. So let's just take a few deep breaths. Take in the gift of life that is free. We haven't earned it. We don't deserve it. It is here for us in every breath. And we share that life in every exhale with all the world, with all the universe. And I'm going to ask you to go back in your memory to two things that you loved to do as a child. Two of your favorite activities. Go back there. Be in that place. Enjoy again that childhood. Those gifts. And now bring to mind two of the most important people in your life as a child. Two important relationships. Maybe it's a parent or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent, friend. Two important people in your life. And think of them in a specific time, a specific place, a specific moment. What did they do for you? What did they say? How do you feel in that relationship? How did they touch your life and bring something alive in you? What did you learn from them that you continue to carry? Take a few moments to go back in memory, to be with them. And now I would ask you to visit two of the most alive and meaningful and fulfilling moments of your life. Two times when you felt like you were making a contribution, when you felt you were the fullness of who you are. When you felt you were doing what you were meant to do. Two moments when things came together. What happened? How did you feel? What contribution did you make? Visit those two precious times in your life. Now I'm going to ask you to visit two challenging times. Two challenging times. And what allowed you to move through those times, to go beyond that roadblock, to somehow take in and still survive and more thrive? Two challenging times. And what within you allowed you to move through and beyond them? And here you are. Now, breathe into your heart center. Breathe into the fullness of all of that experience, all of those gifts, all of those moments shaping who you are. Visit that heart center. What do you know at the core of who you are? What are the gifts, the character, the talents? What shines through you? Take a moment to simply be grateful for the gift that you are to the world. Unconditionally loved, unimaginably precious. And with 3 deep breaths, holding that core of who you are, come back to our time together with an open heart to whatever the Creator, the Source, might want us to hear today. Remember, we're talking about decisions. Decisions, 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 which we're making every day, many of them. And one of the first things that I asked in that first session that I did, I asked you to think of these decisions as seeds that we plant one by one. We don't exactly know which is going to come up or how large or who's going to be influenced by that decision, whose life might be touched, what words might resonate for another person that they might share with someone else who shares with someone else whose life is then touched again. Here's one of the images of seeds that I often carry. This is of that sunflower seed planted in May, little gray and white single seed. And then by August, it's taller than I am, with that face. Did you know that there's a double helix in the seeds of a sunflower? One that goes that way and one that goes that way. Double helix, perfect, perfect. This is called one. One seed, middle of May, the hard striped husk gray as the tumbling storm clouds. I make a quick hollow with my thumb before the rain comes and drop it into the dark, moist pit and close the silence over it, tamping the dirt firm with the heel of my hand. And now, late August, 6 feet of muscular green stem, thick as my wrist, with 7 leaves big as couture sun bonnets bobbing in the breeze. And this spiraling face, majestic multiplication of that single seed. Helix dance, clockwise and counter, fringed with gold fire, and all of it turning and turning to meet the sun, to drink and sing with abandonment and beauty. How could I doubt what one small act can do in this world? One idea, one wish, one word of fertile longing. Think of your decisions as seeds planted and somehow multiplying in the world, having their effect in ways that we often do not know. So we are in our third session of wise decision making. And in our first session, we talked a little bit about the idea of respecting all persons through our decisions, of making decisions that not only affect ourselves, of course, but are attentive to the dignity and the beauty and the preciousness of all lives. How would we decide? What kinds of acts would we do? What choices would we make if we were attentive to that common good, to that broader community of which we are a part? And last week I talked a little bit about how do we appreciate the wholeness of being human? How do we make decisions that allow all of us, body, spirit, mind, and soul, all of us to thrive, and all in our community to thrive? How do we balance? What's the conversation often that shifts in various parts of our life to put more time and energy into relationships or into work or into our home or into raising our children or whatever that might be, into a particular volunteer activity in our community? How do we listen and make the wise decision so that the fullness of being human might be valued? Today, because I did so little in those first 2 sessions, I have to try to make up time and cover 3 principles all today, which is, of course, impossible. But, I'm going to try to do my best. The third principle that I like to talk about is this idea that all of us are connected, that all reality is connected. So that when I'm making a decision about my own life or about something I think is close to me, it in fact very often has ripples in the entire community, in the entire world. If you look at where your shirt is made, or where your skirt is made, or where your shoes are made, where is that? Who did that? How much are they being paid? Are some of them chained to the work table at age 10, being forced to work as children when they should be in a school with a bright yellow pencil in their hand? Oh, yes, every decision ripples out into the world. So if you decide to get some of your food through that community share in a farmer's good work, how does that ripple into that family and into that community, into those organic seeds that are being passed on from generation to generation? Yes, always the ripples into the whole world. We just never know. Last week I got 3 emails, one from a student from 4 years ago. I don't really remember her. And she said, "Your class made a difference. And yesterday I was able to sit with a friend in deep grief because of what I learned in living, dying, and grieving." What a gift to know. The next day I got an email message from somebody in Germany who said, "I just read 2 poems of yours in an anthology, and I really like them, and I'm getting your other books." And I said, "Well, that's great. That's wonderful." But somehow, over time, over space, over continents, some words resonated in a powerful way. And then the next day, an email from a local composer, Wendy Durwachter, who wants to put one of my poems to music so that the choir can sing it. You just never know. You just never know. So you just plant the seeds. You just plant the seeds, and you know that the ripples are going out. Most of them we never hear about. We never get any feedback. But our call is to keep planting the seeds, recognizing that everything is interconnected. It's all affecting everything else. One of the important things, of course, that we need to ask ourselves as we're making decisions then, when we recognize the interconnectedness of all reality, we have to ask ourselves how we're doing in relationship to this good earth that we are part of. We're not the masters of it, by the way. We're part of it. We're not even, I don't think anymore, the brightest bulb in the I look at some of these amazing things like the sunflower. I mean, how does it do that? And how does it turn? And how does it keep taking in that energy? Oh, there's so much wisdom and genius in these other creatures, living realities that are part of our world. Our intelligence is certainly important and a different kind, but greater than? I don't think so. So here we are in the interconnectedness of all reality. How do we make decisions that respect all of my relations, which the indigenous communities tell us, all of my relations? The fourth principle is to value our own inner wisdom, to listen to our own inner teacher. That's why I did that meditation this morning, right? Because there is a precious core of who you are, your unique and particular gift to the world. No one else can give it. No other gift is like the one you have. You, through your experience, through those other people that touched the clay of who you were as you were forming as a child, you have a particular way of being in the world, and the world would be less without your gift. And wise decision making is about, what is that gift and how do I give it? Where? When? In what ways? Of course, there are so many possibilities. So we have to somehow, boil down the possibilities and find those ways that most speak to the heart of who we are, that are resonant with that unique core of who we are. So always listen to that deep well of wisdom within. You don't need to go to some great book. You don't need to ask some king or prophet. Right there, it's within you. It often reminds me of that great story from the Hebrew scriptures of the midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. They were midwives, and of course, as the Hebrew people became stronger and stronger, the Pharaoh became more and more afraid of these people. And so he called the midwives into his central chamber and he said, "Midwives, I want to give you one direction. When the children of the Hebrews are being born, kill them. Don't bring them to birth." And what did Shiphrah and Puah do after remember, the Pharaoh was understood as the God. Shiphrah and Puah said, well, they didn't say anything to the king. They just went about being good midwives, bringing birth and new life into the world. Why? Because they knew what they were called to do. They knew the rhythm of life as midwives. They knew the struggle and the triumph of every birth. And they knew what they were called to do in every one of those moments of giving birth. They would nurture it and allow it to thrive against the direct order from the divine Pharaoh. Trust your heart. Listen deeply to the core of who you are and trust your heart. The final principle that I like to speak about in my way of considering principles for wise decision making. Remember, the challenge is for you to come up with your way, right? Your way isn't my way. Your way is your way. So you have to get in touch with what are the core principles for you and how do you bring them alive in your decision-making process. The last principle that I talk about is attend to preservation and transformation. So in every decision, we have the opportunity, I think, to save what is most important, to do again what is at the core of who we are, what we know is right and just and good, and to make some kind of bold new possibility happen in the world, in our own lives, in a particular relationship, in whatever we're deciding about. Preservation and transformation, to keep what is most important, to keep what is at the core, and to be ready to do something new, to be innovative, to be attentive to that new possibility that might bring new form, new shape, new way of being into the world. The example that I use when I am writing about this principle is the example of South Africa. When they were moving from an apartheid country into a newly unified country, they knew that they couldn't just forget about all of the terrible things that had been part of the apartheid governments. And yet they didn't simply want to say, well, everybody is forgiven and just go free. They didn't want to provide some kind of universal amnesty because that would lead to amnesia. And they didn't think that anything should be forgotten about the struggle during apartheid. That if that, all of those difficult experiences were forgotten, then they would not live truly as South Africa. And so they put into, they did what is called the Truth and Reconciliation process. And they had storytelling sessions throughout the country where people who had been harmed in one way or another could come and tell their story and be heard. And their perpetrators could face each other. And the perpetrator would have to hear the story and how it affected them. And only then could there be a different kind of reconciliation and living together. Here's one example of what happened during one of those storytelling sessions. This is called Inimba, and you'll learn what that means in South African. The story is about 7 mothers whose 7 sons were killed in a raid. The raid happened because there was one young man who turned his back on his friends and his own people and informed the South African then apartheid government that these 7 young men were rebels. Inimba. 7 mothers and their extended families mourning the deaths of their 7 sons meet with the young man, perpetrator, police informant, who turned his back on his people for profit, for safety, for shame. Only the mothers speak when he asks for their forgiveness. They tell him he sold his own blood to the white apartheid government. He was a wolf. He shakes as he listens, his face twitching, and pleads haltingly, softly, addressing the mothers, "My parents, I ask your forgiveness from the bottom of my heart. It is not his words that move her. There is a long silence after his plea. The whole story wells up without sound. How limitless the losses, how unsayable the sins. And yet, she says, you are the same age as my murdered son, Christopher. I want to tell you, my son, that I, as Christopher's mother, I forgive you, my son. She says, my son, and embraces him, presses his body to her body, a child, her wayward child, a child forgiven. And later, when they ask her how she could forgive him, she speaks of her womb, of the umbilical cord that joins a mother to a child, of that feeling for a child, how a mother knows her child's desperation or longing for home when he is in trouble even 1,000 miles away. She speaks of the feeling in her body. She calls it inimba, umbilical tether, the cord that binds us all. Yes, my friends, we are bound together, and every decision we make affects one another. Here's my Christmas poem, was just finished yesterday. Doesn't have a title yet. Do you dare to follow that star? Shine its light on the map of your heart and make your journey magi-like through the desert of your doubt? Not magic, not impossible. In fact, step by ordinary step. Choose to stop at the stable when everything is shouting, rush to the feast. Choose to offer your simple gifts when the stories of scarcity are trumpeted on the loudspeakers. Choose to sing with the angels. Do not be afraid. Choose to see again this whole and wounded world more beautiful than all our boundaries and wiser than all our wars. May we continue to make wise decisions.
We have been blessed by 3 rounds with you, Gary. Thank you so much. Choose Wisely is one of 3 books I would take if I had to be gone alone for a year. The other 2 would be poetry. choose wisely to deepen my mind into my soul and my soul to rise with the poetry. And one of those poetry books would be Step In, Step Close In. People, we'll now have an opportunity to hear the music of our dear own Michael, amazing voice and heart, and Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Hi, Michael.
Good to see you again. This is the song. You all have the cheat sheet, right? Okay, this is a song that kind of made famous in this area by Sarah Thompson. It's called Turning of the World. If I may say, the turning of the world, what does that mean? You know, when we talk about with every voice, with every song, when we lift up our voice, we have an opportunity to feel the movement inside of ourselves. When we feel that, we have an opportunity to connect with that power, that potential within ourselves to turn the world, to open up to dreams, to open up to loving, to open up to whatever else it says on there. So anyway, again, breathing into it, opening up. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and the lives will feel the echo of our turning. Let us sing this song for the turning of the world, that we may turn as one. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and the lives will feel the echo of our turning. Okay. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our turning.
Let us sing this song for the loving of the world, that we may turn as one. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our loving.
With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our loving. Let us sing this song for the healing of the world, that we may heal as one. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our healing. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our wailing.
Let us sing this song for the dreaming of the world, that we may dream as one. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our dreaming.
With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our dreaming.
and our
Lives will feel the echo of our healing, and our lives will feel the echo of our loving, and our lives will feel the echo of our turning.
Thank you so much. And now we will have our offering, dear people. We will give from our hearts. We will trust the process of our life. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay, Jerry.
Okay. And so we gather the spirits that we are, that we have always been together. And imagine yourselves leaving your body to the universe of spirit. That could be a sun or a moon or just the spirit of the universe. Take a deep breath. Expand your awareness for light, compassion, love, peace, and joy throughout every cell of your body. Another breath. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, people. And now we have our benediction with Gary.
Carolyn asked me to read this as our benediction. It's called Circle. As the robin smooths the grasses and lint from the dryer vent with her tender breast into a warm hand to shelter the sky blue promises, as the breath circles in the chamber of the body, as the memory goes round and round in story and song, as the turtle's shell is a shield of wisdom, as the blackbirds spiral from green marsh into the bright sky with a chorus of fire, as the basket is woven with reeds and rushes to collect beach stones and dreams, as the dog goes round and round before settling on his bed. So we walk again the ancient path, orbit of labyrinth, leaning into the sun, tracing the pattern of gift from birth to hand, from hope to lips. Give us this day our daily journey, the steps that take us into the world and bring us back home, lure of adventure, comfort of nest, round and round in the holy pattern of heaven and flesh.